You don't notice the chains until you try to move. Most people never realize they've been asleep their entire lives. Not in bed, but awake. Eyes open, hearts beating, going through the motions. What if I told you that the moment you wake up determines the entire trajectory of your day and eventually your life? Not when you wake up, but how. There's a test few people dare to take. Wake up at 5 a.m. every single day for 1 year. Not because it's productive, not because some billionaire does it, but because it forces you to face something most people spend their whole lives running from: themselves. This isn't about morning routines. It's about what happens when you stop living in reaction and start living with intention. Let me show you what nobody talks about. You hit snooze, not once, 3 times. 4. You grab your phone before your thoughts, notifications, messages, the world pouring into your brain before you've even remembered who you are. You scroll, you compare, you promise yourself you'll change, but somehow nothing changes. Because by the time you're out of bed, the day is already running you. Your boss decides your schedule. Your inbox decides your priorities. Your fear of missing out decides your worth. You tell yourself you're busy, productive, connected, but deep down, you know the truth. You're reactive. Every decision is a response. Every action is a reply. You're living in notification mode, waiting for the next ping, the next demand, the next distraction. And the saddest part, you don't even realize you're in a cage. The bars are invisible. They're built from habit, obligation, and the terror of silence. So you stay busy. You stay distracted. You stay safe, but you never feel alive. Because to feel alive, you'd have to face the one thing modern life has trained you to avoid: yourself in the quiet. Insight number 1, the battle for the first hour. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Most people never make anything conscious. They sleepwalk from bed to grave. But the first hour of your day, that's the war zone. It's where your identity is either claimed or surrendered. When you wake up at 5 a.m. before the world demands anything, you reclaim sovereignty. Not over time, over attention. Attention is the new currency, and every company, every app, every algorithm is fighting for yours. When you wake early, you win the first battle. You get to decide what enters your mind before the world decides for you. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, preparing the mind before the chaos. Marcus Aurelius would wake before dawn, not to conquer empires, but to conquer himself. He wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being, not as a slave to reaction, as a human being with agency." That's the difference. Insight number 2, the myth of lost sleep. Here's what they don't tell you. You're not sacrificing sleep. You're sacrificing distraction. Most people don't go to bed late because they're productive. They go to bed late because they're afraid. Afraid of the silence. Afraid of being alone with their thoughts. Afraid of facing the gap between who they are and who they want to be. So they scroll, they binge, they numb. They call it winding down. But really, it's running away. Sleep studies show that the quality of sleep matters far more than the quantity. When you go to bed with intention, when you stop poisoning your mind with blue light and dopamine hints, you sleep deeper in 6 hours than most people do in 8. Naval Ravikant said it best: "The modern mind is overstimulated and under focus." Waking at 5 a.m. forces the opposite. You become understimulated and overfocused. And that's where transformation happens. Insight number 3, the power of earned silence. Silence is not emptiness. It's the absence of noise, and noise is violence against the soul. Philosopher Blaise Pascal wrote, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." At 5 a.m., the world is silent. No notifications, no demands, no performances. Just you and the raw, unfiltered truth of existence. And that truth? It's terrifying at first, because in the silence, you hear everything you've been avoiding. The doubts, the regrets, the whispers of the life you haven't lived. But here's the paradox. That discomfort is the doorway. Viktor Frankl, who survived Auschwitz, said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response." At 5 a.m., you create that space. You build the muscle of non-reaction. You don't scroll because you're uncomfortable. You don't distract because you're anxious. You sit. You breathe. You think. And slowly, the silence stops being a threat. It becomes a sanctuary. Insight number 4, identity shift through repetition. Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Waking at 5 a.m. for a year doesn't just change your mornings. It changes your identity. At first, we're the person trying to wake up early. By month 3, you're the person who wakes up early. By month 6, you're the person who doesn't need an alarm. And by the end of the year, you're someone else entirely. James Clear calls this identity-based habits. Most people focus on goals, lose weight, make money, get fit. But the real transformation happens when the goal becomes an identity. I am the kind of person who shows up. Every morning at 5 a.m. is a vote for discipline over comfort, intention over reaction, future self over present impulse. And after 365 votes, you become undeniable. Insight number 5, the compound effect of solitude. Here's the secret nobody talks about. Greatness is built in private. The world celebrates the performance, the speech, the book, the product, the breakthrough. But the real work happens in the dark, alone, unseen. Nietzsche wrote, "In solitude, the lonely man consumes himself. In solitude, the creative man consumes his loneliness." At 5 a.m., you're not networking. You're not performing. You're not producing for others. You're producing for yourself. You read, you write, you think deeply, you plan intentionally, and day by day, the gap between who you are and who you're capable of becoming closes. Malcolm Gladwell popularized the 10,000-hour rule. But here's the truth. Most people never find 10,000 hours because they never find solitude. They're always available, always interrupted, always reacting. But 1 year of 5 a.m. mornings, that's 365 hours of uninterrupted focus. That's a book written, a skill mastered, a life rebuilt. Not because you worked harder, but because you worked alone. Let me tell you something uncomfortable. The system doesn't want you to wake up at 5 a.m. It needs you tired, distracted, reactive, because a tired mind can't resist. A distracted mind can't question. A reactive mind can't create. Every notification is designed to steal your attention. Every algorithm is designed to keep you scrolling. Every system is designed to keep you busy, but not productive. Busy people don't revolt. Busy people don't think. Busy people don't build anything that threatens the status quo. And waking up at 5 a.m., that's a revolt. It's a refusal to participate in the attention economy. It's a rejection of convenience culture. It's a declaration that your mind is not for sale. Aldous Huxley warned us in Brave New World. You don't need to ban books when you can distract people into never reading them. You don't need chains when you can addict people to comfort. Comfort is the new cage, and the beautiful lie is that you chose it. You didn't. It was designed for you by people who wake up at 4 a.m. to stay ahead of you. So here's the question. Who's designing your life? Them or you? So what actually happens when you wake at 5 a.m. for a year? 1. You reclaim your mind. You stop reacting. You stop living in response mode. You start every day from intention, not distraction. Practical shift. The first hour is sacred. No phone, no email, no input, only output. Journaling, reading, movement, thought. You build unshakable discipline. Discipline isn't punishment. It's proof. Proof that you can trust yourself. Every morning, you win at 5 a.m. You deposit into the bank of self-respect. And self-respect, that's the foundation of everything. Practical shift. Track the streak. Not for perfection, but for evidence. I am someone who shows up. You stop needing validation. When you do the hardest thing first, before anyone is watching, you stop needing applause. You become internally driven, self-authenticated, unshakable. Practical shift. Don't post about it. Don't perform it. Let the results speak. You create exponential time. While the world sleeps, you build. 1 hour a day is 365 hours a year. That's 9 full work weeks. Imagine what you could create in 9 uninterrupted weeks. Practical shift. Use the hour for deep work. Writing, learning, strategizing, creating, not consuming. You meet yourself. This is the scariest one and the most sacred. In the silence, you'll meet the person you've been avoiding, the dreamer, the doubter, the truth teller. And you'll realize you're stronger than you thought, and more fragile, and more capable. Practical shift. Sit in silence for 10 minutes. No music, no podcast, just breath and being. Here's the truth they'll never tell you. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too late. You're just asleep. And the moment you choose to wake up, really wake up, everything changes. Not because the world changes, but because you do. Waking at 5 a.m. isn't about the clock. It's about the choice. The choice to stop being shaped by the world and start shaping yourself. 1 year from now, you'll either be the person who tried this and gave up, or the person who proved to themselves that they can do hard things. And that proof, it changes everything. So here's my question for you. What if you woke up at 5 a.m. every day for a year? Not for productivity, not for discipline, but for yourself. If you're ready to find out, comment below. I choose myself. And if you want to go deeper, if you're ready to wake up in every sense of the word, subscribe, because we're just getting started. The dawn belongs to you. Go claim it.